A national validation workshop on the National Disaster Management Plan and Recovery Framework was recently conducted with assistance from the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Science, Technology, Vocational Training, and Sustainable Development. NEMO, the local chapter of CDEMA, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, led the workshop aimed at updating and developing new recovery and resilience frameworks for any future climates. Minister of Education and Chairman of CDEMA, Honorable Sean Edward, highlighted the importance of recovery and resilience, referencing the November 6, 2022 incident, which left many in the North dumbfounded by the troubling disaster.
Disaster management is something that we must take seriously, because in the space of 2 hours, 3 hours, your entire GDP can disappear from in front of your eyes. Livelihoods will obviously be impacted, lives will be lost, and infrastructure will be decimated. But after all of this has happened, we cannot just hoist a white flag of submission. We must continue to soldier on. We have to pick up the pieces. We have to rebuild. And that is what we mean when we talk about recovery.
National Emergency Management Organization Director Kenisha Jeffrey Isambut says through partnership and capacity building exercises such as these, they're necessary for effective disaster planning, preparation, and recovery.
The National Recovery Framework will strengthen the capacity of the National Disaster Office to engage with local actors and develop arrangements for recovery pre- and post-event. By participating in this workshop, you are contributing to recovery planning that takes into consideration local culture and greater awareness about community beliefs and values surrounding disasters in St. Lucia. Recovery planning requires participation from a wide cross-section of stakeholders.
Paul Hilaire, Permanent Secretary within the Department of Economic Development and Youth Economy, highlighted the socio-economic damage natural disasters, man-made disasters, and pandemics, most notably the COVID-19 pandemic, pose to the existing landscape.
Our exposure to natural disasters and adverse economic and social crises threatens the island's long-term sustainability. In addition, continuous response mechanisms have further constrained the country's fiscal space to engage in long-term economic and social development. Being aware of that and of the resource constraints and the need for robust, responsive, and updated national disaster plan, assistance from external partners was sourced.
Disaster recovery specialist at CDEMA, Dr. Deborah Brown, further expounded on the importance of recovery planning.
This is an important document to build resilience and pre-disaster and gender-responsive recovery planning that is extensively aligned with guidance of the Sendai framework and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as well as CDEMA's CDM strategy. Today's meeting is a 2-for-1 special. By this I mean we will be discussing the National Recovery Framework, but also we'll be, as the director mentioned, NEMO Director Ms. Isambut mentioned, that we'll also be talking about including recovery in the National Emergency Management Plan of St. Lucia.
The National Validation Workshop on Recovery Framework and the National Disaster Management Plan was held at the Finance Administrative Center. For Choice News Now, I am Chelsea Austinay.